Now, the guys who are in contention is the IL-78 from Russia, the Airbus 330 from France, and the Boeing, what they call the Boeing 767 from the US. So these aircraft, 6 of them, one of these companies is going to supply 6 of them, another opportunity. Now, as far as the AWACS is concerned, the DRDO Bangalore makes one kind of an AWAC called the AEWC on a platform called the Embraer from Brazil. Now, the DRDO has built it very well. It's flying beautifully and is doing its job as it's supposed to do. And now they've decided to go for a big picture, and they have decided to buy the Airbus 330 MRTT to develop a radar platform on top of the Airbus. Another opportunity. They're already going to go in for 3. Perhaps it will be 5, 6 finally. So the Airbus tanker. And of course, many opportunities in avionics and weapons. Many of the avionics which are there in the Sukhoi 30, for instance, as far as the multifunction displays are concerned, is made in India. And I forget the name of the company who is doing exceptionally well. Now, the sources are listed out. Where all do we get from? Russia is our main supplier. France is our steady supplier. And we have a tremendous link with France for ever since we established Bharat Electronics Limited in Bangalore. I think it's about 45, 50 years ago. Since then. And we got the Mystiers, and right now we have the Mirage, and now we get the Rafale, and we have lots of weapons from France. The UK, the British Hawk, which is flying, manufactured in Bangalore, is our main trainer aircraft, as well as the Jaguar. Israel. Now, I specifically mentioned Israel here. Now, the Israelis have got a foot in every single weapon platform that we have bought. Now, if you look at the Sukhoi 30, he's given you the head-up display. If you look at any aircraft, they got a foot inside. If you look at the weapon, the laser generation pod, okay, all the aircraft fly with a laser designation pod from Israel. Most of our weapons, which is the destructive weapons we have, is from Israel. My advice to you would be, try and liaise with Israel and build up a connection with Israel. Now, the beauty of Israel is that Jew is thinking for you what you would require 5 years from now. That's exactly what he does. Now, I've been in the planning, I've been in acquisition for many, many years. And this is what I saw. So I'm thinking of, okay, I need to fit this, I need to fit this. And I don't have the time to look something which I need 5 to 10 years hence, because I'm so occupied with what's happening today and the immediate future. This guy will come and tell me, you know what, you require this then. Then I start scratching my head, and all of us get together and try and, you say, yes, indeed, this fellow has taught it for me. So, what the beauty of his brain is he visualizes what the customer wants and what he wants 5 to 10 years from now. Distant vision. So, he's visionary. So, my suggestion would be to link up with these guys. Now, what does the Indian defense want? Go open the MOD website, look at it. We are given our 25-year plan. All that we want, what technologies we want, the Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, everything is there. The technology which we are looking for is already there. So look at it there and start thinking like an Israeli. Plenty from USA, very many. Ukraine, quite a lot of weapon systems and components of the Sukhoi 30 and our AN-32 aircraft. And here is a new player which has come in, the Japanese. You may have read in the papers, then we want amphibious aircraft from Japan. Opportunity. Now, stringent QRs. If you got to do anything with aviation, it is very, very, very stringent QRs. You know, I would just like to compare with the Army or the Navy. If there is a QR lapse in it, the tank comes to stop or the ship comes to stop. We can always tow it back and repair it. In aviation, it doesn't work that way. It just falls out of the sky. So you cannot afford to have failures. So the quality requirements which are there are stringent, and the international standard which they talk about is the AS 9100, which is an improvement. And since you are focusing towards military and the Indian Air Force or the Army or the Navy, all of us buy aircraft. It's not only the Indian Air Force that buys. Then the CEMILAC. You all must have heard of CEMILAC, Center for Military Airworthiness and Certification. Please liaise with them. The stringent QRs that are required is very, very, very strict. And like the Admiral brought out very, very crucial, the testing of it. You may manufacture something and you will end up running around the country, all over the country, trying to have it tested and proved. So building a testing facility is very, very crucial for our state. So this is something which you all must remember. In aviation, the QR is the most important. The qualitative requirement or the stringent QRs which are there, you cannot bypass it. Now do I put my foot in? All these aircraft have to go through a repair and overhaul. What's the life of a Rafale? No limit. The aircraft airframe is built in such, it has got limitless. It can fly forever. But when it flies forever, it's got so many things in it which cannot fly forever. Its engine, its avionics, its looms, its various components which it has, it cannot fly forever. So all of them periodically come out and they are overhauled and they get back. So it's got two engines. So the two engines will come out, two engines get in, and that goes for overhaul. So you find that the Rafale can fly forever. That means if I have bought it now, next 50 years is guaranteed is going to fly. And inside it, all of them are going to go for an overhaul opportunities. So this is what one should look at. This is what they call as the midlife upgrade. So today, every aircraft goes through a midlife upgrade. And the day it finishes its midlife upgrade, a new life starts. And it continues and continues and continues. Like we fly the MiG-21. It came to India, I flew it all my life. It came into India with 600 hours of flying. Its life. Today we are flying 3,500 hours on that, and still we are going to continue flying. So this is the kind of life a platform gives. The overall of weapons, you see the kind of technological missiles that we get, the missiles and weapon aiming systems to everything, all of them go through servicings. They are very high-end avionic and electronic equipment which require the MROs, the surface-to-air guided weapons, the combat vehicles, the tremendous number of radars that we have. Most of these radars are today indigenously manufactured in Bangalore. So these radars are going to carry on for years to come. So, the MRO of these radars and the various systems that there are. Now, what are the problems of the legacy systems? Now, you see, the legacy systems, for an operator like me, it's an old aircraft and all, and I have a tremendous time maintaining it. It's tough to maintain and operate it. But for the industry, it's an opportunity. Why is it an opportunity? It requires spares. And why is the spares important? Because many of them have gone. And most of the time, these aircraft have been bought from all over the world, and those companies have shut down. So those spares are not available. So what is a guy, an industry supposed to do? How does he do? He does obsolescence management. If you are making a hydraulic pump for this aircraft, this hydraulic pump was probably manufactured in Ukraine. Okay, the company does not exist, it's no more on the map. So we should start thinking 2 years, 3 years from now, that guy will require the hydraulic pump. He is going to come for an overhaul. Obsolescence management. Let me make a hydraulic pump which gets into that. So this is obsolescence management. So these opportunities are plenty. Now, qualitative requirements, I think the Admiral brought it out very well. I will add persistence. You not only have deep pockets, patience and everything, to be in the defense sector is persistence. And you have to be at it, don't give up, grit your teeth and get it and put your foot in. And like he said, once you are in, people will come running behind you and say, how about doing this? Why can't you do this for us? Why did you do this? We are thinking of something like, can you suggest us how will you be able to do it? This is how it works. Of course, the technical skill, plenty in our state. I mean, our state abounds in technical skill. So, we just have to fine tune. Quick response. You see, it's not like, what do I say, that I will do it tomorrow, okay, and land up there 10 days from now and try to do it. It's not unacceptable to defense. So if he says do it tomorrow, it means he should have done it yesterday. That's how the defense looks at. Because it has got to do with national security. It doesn't take, it's not something that you can, be lackadaisical about. Monitoring the performance. If you are a supplier and you have supplied it, you need to monitor the performance continuously, because you can fine tune and you are always 2 steps ahead of him. And you have a guy there who is all the time monitoring and giving you a feedback. And quickly you're coming up with proactive solutions. And of course, liaison with the operator as well as at the ministry level. What are the problems that we could have? Fundamental. The fundamental thing is, please remember, anything to do with defense is you are supplying an equipment which is a weapon of war. You can't say, there is the enemy and I'm going to shoot him and my gun stops. It's not of any use to this nation. Absolutely. So the fundamental concept in this is, it cannot fail. We cannot afford it to fail, a weapon of war. So when you treat anything with defense, it can be a no-fail. That means it has to be perfect. Believe in the operator. Most of the time what happens is, now we have all flown for years together, and every time when I say I got a problem in this aircraft and I feel it is this, that guy looks at me, he says, probably he's not telling the correct thing, Instead of saying, you said right, let me find out what the problem is. So it is a mindset. It is a mindset. And every time in the corporate sector, I think every time they are trying to teach today, is the customer is always right. So this is the kind of belief which should be there, that you always say, he's right, let me find out what the problem is. Concept of time, of course, everything has to be quick. Documentation. Big weak area in India. We have produced fantastic stuff. You ask for documentation, it's a 0. A very poor documentation, very poor maintenance procedures, very poor standard operating procedures. You see, the thing is, when you make something and give it to the operator, you have to give everything for the operator to use. How does he use it? How does he switch on the equipment? Fail-safe equipment, what does it? All the things. So our documentation is a tremendous weak area in our country. If you want to get an example of perfect documentation, is the Brits and the US. Tremendous, perfect documentation. And of course, having a field rep in wherever you have supplied.
For its forces, but also how to leverage the industry in making sure that the Make in India program